Hi, this is Professor Brown-Cedarberg, and we're going to talk about incrementing and decrementing. When we increment and decrement, we're using a unary operator, and a unary operator associates itself with one item. The unary operator for increment is plus plus, and for decrement minus minus. Now, to increment something, plus plus is our symbol, we're simply adding 1. When we decrement, minus minus is our symbol, and we are simply subtracting 1. Now, when we increment and decrement, we can pre or post increment or decrement. To pre-increment or decrement is to put the symbol before the item we want increased by 1. And that item is always something that evaluates to a whole number. Okay. When we post, we have our symbol plus plus or minus minus after the item that we want either incremented or decremented. So when we look at pre-increment, it's plus plus and then the item, in this case I. Post-increment, again using I as an example, it would be I plus plus. To pre-decrement, it's minus minus I. To post-decrement, I minus minus. Now, pre and post-increment or decrement doesn't make a difference if you pre or post if you're not returning a value. So minus minus A and A minus minus are functionally equivalent. We'll use incrementing and decrementing quite often in loops, specifically in the for loop. So here we have for int I equals 0, I less than 5, plus plus I, incrementing I every time we go through the loop. That's functionally equivalent to this. For int I equals 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, post incrementing I. Those two statements are functionally equivalent. Now, when we're returning a value, pre and post does matter. If we're returning a value, it makes a difference if we pre or we post increment or decrement. So A equals minus minus B. Take that as an executable line of code. That's not the same as A equals B minus minus, because in those two statements we are returning a value. They are not equivalent statements. So let's look at this. If I have a statement int A equals 1, B equals 0, I then put into B the incremented, pre-incremented value of A. So what's the value of B? Well, I know that A has a value initially of 1. I'm going to increment it, put that into B. Okay. What, though, is the value of A? So the value of B is 2. The value of A is 2. And that makes sense. A is incremented, put into B. Let's look at this example. I have a statement A is equal to 1, B is equal to 0. I'm going to post increment A, so I'm going to put into B the value returned with the post increment of A. So what's the value of B and what's the value of A? Well, B has a value of 1 because the value of A is returned, put into B, and then the value of A is incremented. So while B has the value of 1, which is the value of A before it was incremented, A has a value of 2 because it has now been incremented. So pre and post makes a difference if I'm returning a value. Now I know that I can pre and post increment and decrement. That a return value and a not return value make a difference in what the result of the computation is. So if I'm returning a value, it makes a difference if I pre or post increment or decrement. If I'm not returning a value, it doesn't. Thank you.